Welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. My name is Pritesh with KaizenCrypto. I'm here with Zain, who is the Senior Partnership Manager with Cointelegraph. We're in the DMCC Crypto Center in Dubai. This is an incredible building, and I'm hoping to have an insightful conversation with him today to talk more about crypto and what he's doing within the space. So Zain, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Very good, Pritesh. I'm doing awesome. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I really appreciate the tour of this space, the DMCC Crypto Center. It seems like a relatively new building, so...
Yes, it's just been a couple of weeks, Pritesh, that this new place has opened up, but the Crypto Center existed, since some years in a different building. But yeah, this is a great space for people in the crypto space to come together, sit, work, and, make friends, build relationships that last forever.
Yes, absolutely. Here we are, we're actually having this amazing setting. So it's really great, people can come in and do some co-working, interviews, really cool.
Plus network, and then you are surrounded with these sort of companies around, which are somewhere maybe in the same space, or maybe you require their services. So I would request with this video also coming out for people in the crypto space to come out, work together with people.
Yes.
It makes a hell lot of a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what we're seeing in Dubai as well, there is a lot of growth from different companies in this region specifically. I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but since we're on this topic of coming and collaborating and co-working, what are your thoughts on crypto adoption in Dubai?
I think, as you know this too, Pritesh, the adoption here has been really nice and rapid. And the reason behind adoption is the incremental support by the government here. So from the upper body itself, they're very pro-crypto. The regulations, as you see, are also, very suitable for companies to flourish. That has got like a lot of companies come together here, set up their base, and then work in an environment that is supportive rather than, the other environments that don't want to support, or there's just a gray area at the moment. So UAE itself, I think not just UAE, even MENA region wants to reach that space, but UAE itself has taken a big step to create the first base, and Dubai has been leading that, ever since that I've been here. And I've been in this space too. So yeah, for sure, it's a nice, regulated, and a very nice environment for companies to come up and do stuff here in the space.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic. So Zain, I wanted to get more information about you. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself. So your role within Cointelegraph, how long have you been with Cointelegraph?
It's not too long, Pritesh. So I've been with Cointelegraph over the last, few months, but I started my journey. So I'm, Zain, I started my first, by education side, I'm an engineer in biotech, did my master's in anthropology, but eventually got dragged into the crypto space, I would say, over the last 5 years or so now.
So anthropology is quite a big difference from crypto.
It's a huge difference, but I think we learned, how humans interact, right? So that's where we design whatever we design or do, keep it very human-centric, Pritesh. So that's, the education side that I bring in, but when I was 18, that's when I started my first venture, back in India, back then in Delhi.
Okay.
And I ran that for 6 years, sold that company. Eventually, I didn't know what to do. I was too young at this stage, still 24 years of age. And then I started traveling, exploring a couple of countries, got into different businesses than crypto, which includes travel and ESL, English as second language.
Okay.
And then eventually, last, 3 years back when I moved to Dubai, this was one of the time when I was maturing in the crypto space. So I came here, joined Ethereum, worked, as a growth hacker for them.
Okay.
And eventually then moved into Cointelegraph, where I work as a senior partnership manager.
I see. Okay. Very cool. So you've got an interesting journey.
Yes. But I think, Pritesh, it's worth mentioning that people have their set of stories. But what I really like and what's driving me to where I am and where I want to go is purpose.
Sure.
So I keep it very purpose driven, and I always rethink, almost every day, what have I achieved and where I want to go with my purpose. And my purpose is to make, a connected environment where blockchains aren't fragmented. So this is why I bring on, not just the Cardano ecosystem, but also other ecosystems which have a similar flavor, but they're still very fragmented. And I think the future will not be, one chain leading everything. It's going to be a mixed bag of chains that have accomplished something doing that. So that's driving me forward to bring and create this interoperable environment between blockchains.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about the Cardano ethos as well, as this interoperability.
Yes.
I love what you said there with this multi-chain idea, right, where there's different blockchains working together. I think that depending on what your use cases might be, maybe one is for gaming or maybe one is for supply chain.
Yeah.
There's different use cases for different blockchains, and it's great to be able to have them collaborate.
Absolutely.
So within Cointelegraph, because Cointelegraph is more widely known in the crypto space for media production and covering different topics.
Yes.
So are some of the things that you're seeing related to interoperability, related to Cardano, or is it other chains specifically?
It's a mixed bag, Pritish.
Okay.
To answer you straight on this, how I see this, how I envision this too, and what's happening in the industry is kind of related as well. Like from a Cointelegraph end, firstly we cover like 41% of the media space in the crypto segment. So it's a huge brand, and we see like a lot of different stuff. But stepping aside from that rule is how I see. I think presently the movement is towards, for example, Cardano. Let's talk about that, right? Like there's a substrate base for partner chains in the Cardano ecosystem, and substrate is like Polkadot, right? So you have this relay network within Polkadot and Cardano, and there have been initiatives taken on this where they're trying to, because it's the same language, right? Both are speaking the same language, and Cardano, as a part of their vision, wants to be interoperable and then have these sort of partner chains attached to it. They've taken the right steps.
That's great.
I think it's worth mentioning that Cardano has an ongoing stuff here with the Dubai police, which is something really huge and very exciting. And the recent efforts that have been taken with the future accelerators and the movement with the Dubai Blockchain Center too for Cardano is very interesting.
Yes, but I was actually just there. Jeremy Furster put that together. That was a good event.
That was one, and then we have another one, that I'll be hosting, which will be more or less like a constitutional workshop. So we are hosting these, different hosts are hosting this across the world, and this is in regard to creating the constitution. So anyone who's watching this, maybe you're exposed, maybe you're not, but it's time for you to dig into the Cardano governance part and look and check out gov.tools, which is the governmental website, where all this stuff around Cardano is deeply mentioned. So yeah.
That's great. That's
interesting times.
Yes, absolutely. There's so much going on. It's hard to wrap your head around it sometimes, but I love that. There's governance now, so there's different ways to participate by voting.
Correct.
You can attend these different committees.
Correct.
So as far as being able to collaborate with other people in different communities, one of the things that I'm looking forward to, you're actually putting together a meetup with, is it the Telegram or the
It's
Ton
with
blockchain?
the Ton ecosystem,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So hopefully that's something where, maybe people like myself or maybe others, maybe XRP community or Polkadot community, they can all just kind of come together. And I really love that
absolutely
idea of collaboration.
That's the right way forward, rather than we all moving into these smaller silos and creating something within that ecosystem. We are at that mature stage for sure, Pritesh, where we can combine, and have the best of all together, working in a similar direction, rather than everybody creating their fragmented ecosystems.
Yes.
I think that needs to change, if not today, then tomorrow, and that's not going to last forever. It's impossible, for anyone to take the entire space. It has to be a combination. What I like really about the Polka and the Cardano ecosystem is the substrate, the common base for partner chains that allow interoperability to happen anyway. So that's a very interesting angle, and once we have this sort of a use case set up on Cardano, the next step could be to take this into Ton or into other ecosystems like Algorand or
I see.
Almost any blockchain that wants to adapt that partner model.
Yes.
That's once done and tested. And
right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really great. One thing I wanted to ask you about was you do see a lot of crypto people that are interested in Dubai.
Yes.
They're watching this video, they hear about things on news outlets like Cointelegraph, but they want to learn more about, what is it actually like to be here? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience living in Dubai as somebody who works in crypto?
I think, Pritish, it's a great experience, man. I've stayed in different parts of the world too, not just here. So I've learned, what is the difference here versus the others. And I can just sum it up in a simple, simple term.
Sure,
that
sure.
When I came here, I could buy my banana, using crypto.
Okay.
That was, incredible. Like I could just basically get anything, by paying, and in a normal store, right? So there are these options that are, as I said at the start of this video, right? Like that this is a huge support from the top, making this a very friendly place. So now you could pay your kids' schools, you could pay,
Wow.
buy a house, you could rent a car, you could even rent house or buy a house. So that sort of stuff is all available. And I think it's a very interesting stage here as well, because you've seen this influx of companies come in here and setting up their bases.
Yes.
And growing this. And I don't see this stopping anyhow,
Right.
This might just be one of the early starters in the MENA region, and this might even expand further. So I know there are initiatives taken by Bahrain, for example, to do this. Qatar is trying to do something great. Saudi has also taken a recent initiative, especially Riyadh, as a town to create this environment for crypto companies.
That's great.
The biggest thing that I also wanted, I think, Pritesh, you would need this too, or anyone who's watching us would need this too, is to have a friendly and favorable environment.
Yes.
Where the crypto is not just something stored in your wallet, but it comes out to your real life and you can do something with it, maybe buy, maybe, put it somewhere, make money through it, lend, borrow, do whatever, right?
Yes.
So I think that's what the environment here brings us. And it's, the number of players that we have here, like especially if you look at numbers, I have something on top of my head because I keep organizing events. Like 70,000 people plus, is going to be the footfall in the GITEX week.
Okay.
So this future blockchain and, all that supported events.
Yes.
That brings in like 70,000 people together, which is bigger than Token or,
Yeah, so many events that are happening here. There's that Blockchain Life Summit. There's the Cardano Summit that's coming up.
There's the Cardano Summit, yes. There is Torn Gateway also happening here, which is the official event. There is Binance Blockchain Week. There is Cosmoverse.
Wow.
Then there is Blockchain Life. There is Future Blockchain Summit kicking this off. World Token Summit. And there's one more event coming, with relations with Vara too. So yeah, there's this huge influx of busy October, as how we're calling it. It's no more October for us.
Right, October.
It's going to be a crazy month, Pritesh, attending and, meeting all these people and then following up.
Yes.
So that's the key, not just to meet, but build that relationship that could last, even forever, right? So,
Sure. Wow, very cool. That's one of the most exciting parts about being here is just to see the amount of in-person events and networking and just to be right in the center of it. So I really appreciate the insight there.
Pleasure.
With where you see crypto going over the next, maybe let's say 5 years, it's hard to say because the technology moves so fast, right? But what are some of the things that you're looking forward to? Maybe some predictions of what's to come with crypto? Tell us about your thoughts there.
It's a tough one, Pritesh, to be honest, because we can make predictions and we can have these sort of, understanding coming from the experience. I think where we're going to eventually reach, coming from the last few years of experience, is having this ecosystem, that grows and has a real world application to something, so using fractionalization, for example, of real estate driven by blockchain.
Yes.
That allows you to own land and houses through a smart contract would be where I want to see things happening. Within 5 years or not, I'm not the right guy for that. It depends on a lot of external factors, Pritesh, that are not in our control. Regulation here, if you talk about it, I think here it's going to be faster compared to anywhere else. Let's look at Asia or APAC region or even Europe. They're trying to take steps, very interesting steps to this, but the real stuff will also come with regulations in place.
Yes.
And with people having the right license so that, they don't exploit the technology, but use it to your advantage. So where I see probably here in this region is a lot more adoption of blockchain, or let's call it distributed ledger technology.
Sure.
To exist in real world stuff, like what Dubai Police Initiative has been. Or, even passport control, right? So you can just scan and your Emirates ID could, have your data stored on chain. It's a great way to store data.
Yes.
And everything is public and everything is accessible and everything is easy from that point of view. And wallet gives us another functionality to... So I think the implementation in gaming is very interesting, Pritesh,
okay, all right.
from my perspective. The next big industry that could be explored with this might be even music, or independent artists, or
Yes.
KOLs, that sort of stuff, where they have not just presence on certain social channels, but something on their own that they can take to any channel or anywhere they want to.
Absolutely. One of my favorite projects I'm actually an ambassador for is Project Noom. It's based on Cardano, but basically they want to give the ownership of the music back to the artists.
Oh, yes.
If you think about Spotify, like how much revenue do these creators actually earn from Spotify because of all the different fees and everything?
Absolutely. But I think I got exposed to Neom during the previous blockchain, the Cardano.
Oh, the Cardano Summit. Yeah, they were there for that
there
too.
And they won some prize or something, and I remember talking to the founder.
Yes, Ryan. Yes, great guy. Yes.
Small world.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many people you meet, right?
Well, I mean, that's the exposure that the area presents, Pritesh. We're just putting in our effort to make this count and make this worth our time and make this worth the other person's time too.
Yes,
So,
yes. Well, I love the points that you mentioned there. When you talk about how easy it is to go through the Dubai smart gates at the airport, right? Having those credentials stored on a blockchain.
Correct.
That's a perfect use case.
I think they've taken steps to do it. Adoption never comes really fast, which is okay. There has to be a gradual stage for mass adoption to come. We've seen the crypto space mature from what it was to where it's going, right? So it's not going to stop, man. It's just going to go further down, right? It depends where in the rabbit hole you see yourself. What do you want to contribute to the community? I think a lot of people are still not used to that idea of having things open and decentralized, and permissionless, that allows you to have that flexibility to walk in or walk out at your ease and contribute and make real value, contribute real value to it. So I think that's the beauty of the overall space, that we cover.
Yeah. You're so right in that, because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I've always had that pick up a shovel and start digging mindset.
Correct.
But I think for most people, I would say, who are just getting into crypto especially, is that it can be a little bit overwhelming. The education aspect is always something that I've tried to focus on. One of the things we built is also a course, just a 101 Cardano course, like how to get started. So I think as far as being in this space, that's really one thing where once you have the education of, okay, I've got my wallet, I know how to buy crypto, it's really about what can you build within the ecosystem, because we're all here trying to add value to the space, and everybody's contributions are important.
Interesting that you mentioned this, because before we came for this recording, I was meeting a couple of guys and we were talking, how exactly education could be, a driving factor to this. But there's this huge industry problem that we have, is that people just follow trends, and it's highly jargonated, So you're like, okay, everything is now deepen, everything is now like RWA, which is great, for you to bring your first step in. But I think it's not sustainable over the long term, right? So you've got to not just run around the latest fads in the crypto space. Okay, AI is picking up, or RWA is picking up, right?
Right.
Which is great. Maybe when you're starting, you want to piggy bank, and we understand that. Major value should come from what your product is, impacting human lives. And this is where my anthropology kicks in too.
Sure.
And makes it like really purposefully driven, for the next set of users. So this could be a simple dApp that can do, just a little bit, something really simple, but has a real world application, in the real world of where and how we live our lives.
Okay. Wow, that's great. I think as far as what we're at now, I do see a lot of RWA and DePIN being thrown around. I see the meme coin culture as well.
Has caught up, right? Solana has been the fuel behind that, Pritesh, but it's a culture that's caught up in all other ecosystems too. So in Ton, I see Notcoin, So there are other ecosystems which are now playing out with this, which is great. I mean, it's a nice adoption area for people to walk in and have their first exposure to crypto. But I think there's a rabbit hole, lying beneath that.
Right.
That should be explored too.
Right. Absolutely. It can be the gateway drug, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the right way to say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Zain, lots of exciting conversations. I'm sure there's going to be many more at the Cardano Summit as well.
Yes.
Are you going to be attending?
Of course, I'm going to be there at the Cardano Summit.
Okay.
And very excited and looking forward this year, because now, got more understanding over the last year. Before, when I attended the previous summit, I was still a newbie, I would say, in the Cardano ecosystem. I still am very new, but I've learned a lot of different stuff over the last year as time has passed by.
Okay.
So I'm excited, number one, around intersects development, with the governance. That's super interesting.
Yes.
For anyone who doesn't know this, it's an MBO. It's a membership-based organization, open to everyone to join. You could become associates and, be a part of this. But if you want to contribute, you could become paid members there. And that's, I looked at the whole documentation, man, and spent some time, and I was like, wow, this is like one of the perfect models that our industry should be implementing. And Intersect has taken a lead on that. So kudos and shout out to them. And leading with that, the second interesting thing is governance, Pritish.
Yes.
It's very exciting to see, especially because, people like me who've been in the space for some years can contribute with the experience in other ecosystems with this. So how Polkadot's governance system works, how open the treasury is to accepting proposals, how they're scrutinized, what the reports, how the whole cycle works, right? Like that's something that Cardano would eventually lead down to. So if we can look at the governance part, it's super interesting again. And of course, I'm very excited to host the constitutional workshop here and contribute, furthermore to the community.
Yes.
Followed by the summit, which is going to be the big blast of everyone Cardano in Dubai.
That's great. Yes, you touched on so many great points there. I'm looking forward to attending that constitutional workshop as well.
Absolutely.
So that should be a lot of fun. Yes, governance it's really starting to take off now. It's exciting.
It's exciting, and people, I'm sure your audience is well educated on this, Pritish, but when I host events for other chains and I mention about Cardano, people don't really understand what's the beginning point. Of course, it could be education, but how you could contribute, like the fund catalyst, right? The 13th fund, which is now open.
Yes.
How does that really work? How do you register, and it's very well documented. I think Cardano, is very nice with this, documentation is top notch and it's regularly updated and things, of course, there is a little bit of lag and gaps and stuff, which is, understandable, but documentation is there and it's there for anyone on the internet to go read, understand what we're talking about. If we sound like aliens too, on these subjects, and then use these, available funds to create products of value.
Absolutely. So, yes, absolutely. One of the things that I wanted to ask you with the constitutional workshop is, as Catalyst, you just mentioned the Fund 13 is pretty much going on right now. Is that something where you're going to be talking about the education or how people can participate, or is it mostly the constitutional workshop?
Yeah, it's going to be around. So we have an agenda, Pritish. It's a 6-hour workshop that we'll be hosting, and we'll be having a facilitator from Voltage Control with us available online at site. Then there's the agenda is mostly around the constitutional framework. So how people can contribute, what they like, what are their views in this, and then eventually do some sort of voting using a tool, Mentimeter tool. And then eventually come out with these results, that can be implemented. And people who are, participating, there's a chance for them to be invited to Argentina.
Oh, wow.
To, further go down and, be in part of real life.
Yes.
With the constitution being signed and taken off. So the interim is already there. And this workshop is just going to be hardcore only about the constitution part.
Got you. Okay. Well, hopefully we can create some content around that as well.
Absolutely.
I think the community would really appreciate seeing that.
Absolutely. We should. I think there's been great constitutional workshops. I've interacted with other hosts as well, Pritesh, just to learn, what was right, what didn't work, what worked really well, so we can implement. We're almost on the last stage of hosting these constitutional workshops. It's just 2 or 3, if I'm correct. That's going to happen on the 18th of October. Almost the whole bunch is, so we're almost done with the constitutional workshops at this stage. So this is like really nice. We have like a nice stage and understanding from what worked. And then implement it in a city like Dubai, which has genuine people interested. I think DREPs and SPOs are also good. Right, like stake pool operators, how they could work and how DREPs. And it's a very low barrier entry point, Pritish. I was talking to one of my friends and I told him, look, why don't you become a DREP? They're like, well, what is a DREP? And I'm like, that's delegate representative. Sorry about, jargonating it for you. And he's like, oh, what is it? How does it work? And I shared like some documentation and he came up with a set of follow-up questions like this. And I could redirect them, So I really like that people could pick up something, on Cardano and start contributing like literally from now, if they want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and the amount of content online as well, between the video content, the tutorials, the written blogs.
Is a lot, yeah.
Yes, there's a lot.
The forum is also a good place. Like that's where I personally learned more about Cardano, where I could go in, check the various categories, look at the various ongoing conversations and refer to the past.
Okay.
And then eventually, I mean, it's a great place. If you want to ask something, people are there. Everyone responds eventually to you. And then, I mean, everyone is like, of course, there's tons of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't expect quick answers, but I expect someone, to be available to answer something.
Sure.
And that happens on the forum. So, yeah.
That's really great. That's really great.
Yeah.
Well, Zain, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us here today. Of course, looking forward to joining you at the Constitutional Workshop and then also again seeing you at the Cardano Summit. Should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man.
Yes. For our audience who would like to follow you and learn more about what you're building, can you tell us where they can find you on social media and what links they should go to?
Probably I'll give you my link tree, which has all my connected social media links in the single place. I'm more active. I've been more active on LinkedIn, and then also now I'm catching up pace with Twitter. X is how we call it.
Yeah.
So that's the right place. And of course, anyone can reach out from your community on Telegram too. I'm usually around all these 3 different channels that I mentioned.
Okay, very cool. All right, Zain. Well, thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you, Pritesh.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop us a like. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe on your way out so you can stay tuned for more content like this.
And see you at the Constitutional Workshop if you folks are coming to Dubai. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.